Hello, friends. Welcome to OAWA's weekly update on money and markets. We begin with news on the global front. Last week, the Bank of England followed the Federal Reserve in keeping their key benchmark policy lending rate unchanged at 5.25%, a 14-year high. The bank also indicated that it's too soon to think of cutting rates and that levels may remain higher for longer, especially if oil prices increase due to Israel-Hamas war. While it expects that inflation may come back to its targeted level of 2% by only 2025, it also forecasts that there could be a 50-50 chance of a recession in mid 2024. Currently, the inflation rate in the UK is hovering around 6 to 7%. Moving on to news on startups. Once upon a time, WeWork used to be the most valuable startup in the US. They revolutionized the office sector globally. However, last week, WeWork filed for bankruptcy as its bets on companies using more of its office sharing space, many of which were taken at high priced leases, has not paid off. Profitability has remained elusive, and as the trend for work from home continues, WeWork has struggled to see sustained premium demand for its spaces. WeWork is owned 60% by SoftBank, a Japanese technology group who invested billions in its turnaround. The company has said 92% of its lenders have agreed to convert their secured debt into equity under a restructuring agreement. That apart, the company said the bankruptcy proceedings is not expected to affect its businesses and franchisees outside of US and Canada. Moving on to news on the domestic economy, recent news on higher than budgeted robust tax collections bodes well for keeping India's fiscal deficit under check. However, one expense head may be worrying for the government. We are talking about India's fertilizer subsidy bill, which is expected to touch rupees 2 lakh crores in FY24 as per news reports. Higher consumption due to increase in acreage in the rabi season for crops and higher natural gas prices are the key reasons. While the initial budgeted estimate was rupees 1.75 lakh crores, in the first 6 months of the financial year, fertilizer subsidies have already crossed 63% of the full year allocation. Moving on to news on India's largest listed company, Reliance Industries is planning to raise as much as rupees 20,000 crore through rupee denominated debt. This is the single largest debt raise by Reliance Industries and their first domestic bond raise since 2020. The issue is rated AAA by credit rating agencies and has a final maturity tenor of 10 years. The issue was fully subscribed by investors at a yield of 7.79% at the primary auction held on November 9. For comparison, the 10-year government security benchmark has traded around 7.25 levels during the week, which brings the spread of this issuance at 55 bips. Finally, we end the week with concerning news on pollution. Even as India gears up for Diwali celebrations, pollution and haze is playing spoilsport in several cities, towns, and villages. Farm fires, vehicular and industrial pollution, construction dust, all are contributing. Pollution has a very negative impact on the economy in terms of higher medical costs, lower productivity, and consequently lower GDP. This Diwali, let us all introspect on how we can do our bit to improve the situation. On this note, we wish all our viewers a very happy Diwali and prosperous year ahead. See you next week.